Let's proceed.
Let's proceed with a positive attitude that what we're saying will be recorded.
I think that's
why, you know what I'm saying?
That's what we're just making a movie the whole week. That same faith is required.
You don't know. You don't think it can happen. I have OCD, so because Josh didn't, we had a couple of mistakes. That's all I think about. 24 hours a day.
You had to call them mistakes. You couldn't call them,
It's not a mistake.
See, thank you.
That's the thing.
You
know why that's...
Mistake means blame and
you know why that's... Isn't that...
Occurrences we had.
I have to say, honestly, I don't want to start out heavy, but that really, to me, says a lot about me. I'm serious, because the fact that there's a part of me that really does think, oh, those are mistakes, that's because my parents, and God bless them, one is not here anymore, and the other one thinks she's in Cleveland. But
is there a particular disease that might be a symptom of? Could it be
Parkinson's? My mama has Parkinson's, see?
That's not a funny topic. Why would I do that? I am so tired, ladies and gentlemen. Josh
is first of all, he's not a yeller. He's not someone you should truck with, though. You hear that one?
Don't truck with him.
I don't know what that means.
I don't either.
I'm hoping it's good. But you are so tired.
I'm really tired. We are on day 12.
Don't say what we're on.
Of the Fiddling Horse shoot.
Right, we had a day off. You've had the least.
I have been the only person who has shot every single production day of this film, though.
Oh, production day. I'm glad you said that. You said that. What's that?
Nothing.
Don't do it. I'm going to tell you something right now. You have two choices to make. To go and just swing with my incredibly charming OCD, ADD personality, sleep deprived, bringing nothing to the table except negative, not listening, and then a negative cut. Or I can clean my act up and take it from the top. I'm not going to take it from the top because I think it's a solid opening. I told you I listened to Us today.
Every 50 episodes or so?
I would like to listen to every episode, but I do think it would be weird.
No, you would not.
I think it would be weird.
I have listened to every episode.
And it's not. You don't think you're a better person for it, do you?
No. Well, I think I'm a better person than you.
Well,
but I'm not a better.
Right.
But my life wasn't improved by it. No.
If anybody writes the book about us or the memoir, they're not going to. They're always going to say only one person worked on the show. That was you. You recorded it and you edited it. To me. It's just, I'm coming in here, baby, and I'm sick of myself already. Hey, so you sent a picture from the set today. We're on the set of...
The Fiddling Horse.
What am I, the Sklar Brothers? I'm feeling you like the Sklar Brothers.
We are in Baton Rouge right now, in our hotel room, in my hotel room. Thankfully, we don't share one. I think that would make things very testy, I think.
Well, it would be bad if that was the best deal we could cut.
True.
I don't think that's in the SAG rules.
We are wrapping tomorrow and heading home tomorrow night.
Yes, tomorrow's the last day of shooting as far as we know, right? Because we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, emergencies happen.
And
Not mistakes, but emergencies happen.
I said that. I apologize for that.
Oh, God, it didn't actually leave a mark.
Yeah, but you see, that's because you're well adjusted. Only because you're a reasonable person. Because the thing is...
Why, thank you.
Yeah, the thing is, what I was trying to say was, I said mistakes... Because I'm filled with self-loathing, not Josh loathing.
Well, I had already gone through my self-loathing cycle with each of those occurrences. So I've processed them and moved on. So when you brought them back up that way, it felt like there was a grudge or something involved.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I know, like, for example, I've said to myself, why aren't we offloading into something else now to be safe? But then I think, what are we? It's not the atomic bomb we're building.
No, it's not.
Well,
it's some form of bomb, perhaps.
You will lose. There's no way not to lose with the backup theory. Because why would one backup be enough? Right. You should have something going out from there.
I like my redundancy to have a little redundancy.
That's true. So you say from the Fiddling JL.
What are you? Oh, you're reading my tweet
from the Twitter. Waiting for a take with my Fiddling Horse co-stars, the incredibly talented Paula Lindbergh and the incredibly familiar Andy Kindler.
Right.
And to which Ron Waxman has replied, at least you didn't call Andy incredibly talented, so your credibility remains intact.
There you go.
Ron Waxman is very funny, and I recommend his humor to everybody. I thought that would be not a stronger opening, but I don't know why I thought the tweet would be good. I don't know what I think.
It was a choice. You made a choice.
I know, but no ideas like that are going to solve your.
I was calling my wife on the balcony, and you decided, you know what? I'll do a little pre-production. I think
nice. Today was a weird day in the world for me. Like I hated what they were. I hate the kids with the red hats. And I hate the right wing trying to say, "Oh yeah."
Yeah, that's the problem. You had a day off yesterday, so you got to catch up. I haven't really really caught up fully. I've gotten glimpses of the kids with the Indian drumming, and I've had a little MSNBC on, but
the kids
mostly I've got some big knowledge gaps for the past 8-9 days.
I can't argue with anything that's wrong with that. I mean, the thing
it doesn't suck. It is nice to be actually immersed in a world that's not ours. You know.
Yes, but like we've always said, you always try and say, this could drive you crazy. If you allow it to drive you crazy, it could drive you crazy. But then the other side of it is, he keeps upping the ante on the horrible things that he's doing. So he's like, the closing of the government. You go, he's trying to bankrupt I don't doubt he's trying to bankrupt the government. Maybe like Susan said, Putin's giving him instructions about how to fuck up things.
Right.
I mean, who knows? But the point is, he can cause so much more damage right now that it's hard to breathe.
Yeah. It is. It's precarious right now.
It has to come to a head.
But it feels better than 4 months ago.
It does.
Because it feels like, okay, we're almost all agreeing that crimes were committed here.
Yeah. Most people are, except for Dershowitz, probably.
Right. But we double butted.
We double butted. You know what? That's because many times we have the same reaction to things.
So let's reflecting back on this whole experience. How's it been for you?
It has been great. It has been great, I would say, the whole time, except the old, coming and I still have problems with the ridiculous OCD packing and, like bringing, like Susan says, how many backup things do you bring on every item? Too many.
Yeah. With
the Alka-Seltzer and this, and I have it in different bags and the ring and the things like that. But I did get 4 hours of sleep before it. That was a record for me, 4 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
And the first day I don't like the idea of being out somewhere where there aren't restrooms and catered things.
Right.
And a honey wagon and a suite.
Right.
I don't, there's nothing that's appealing to me about, we're going to go out, we don't know where we're going, in the outback somewhere.
Right.
And we're going to bring some, we're going to build a pit toilet and stay there for 4 days. Right. So I was all nervous about that stuff. But once I got over the nervousness, I've been having pretty much fun.
Yeah.
I can't even know what to talk about it because I'm so tired. I want to, convey the experience because this is, we may have to wrap up. We may not be able to do the podcast if this takes off like I'm thinking it will.
Ah.
It's kind of stunning in a way.
Yeah.
And let's not make too big a deal out of it, but let's make a big deal out of it. I've never been in a movie before, and I've never been in a movie. I did a thing on not Dr. Katz, Bob's Burgers,
right.
Where I had the mortuary next door, and it was a week, and they got to spend the night at my mortuary, where I saw myself over a half-hour period develop as a character.
Right.
I've never seen that before. That was fun. This is like, take that a couple of steps further. Now there's a whole, you can't get away from me in the movie.
Right.
I'm there.
Yeah.
For better or worse.
Yeah.
But I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about, like, you see horrible things. I'm trying to think of something horrible that people have been doing that, well, maybe it's like the Shantex commercials.
Yeah.
You can't ever get, you can say that's fine that he doesn't, but you're never going to get excited about those. They're always going to look kind of embarrassing in a way.
Right.
Especially when the point where he goes, look, point is, I don't smoke anymore. Boom. Case closed. He's like, he's about to fucking strangle the crew.
Right.
Can you say about how Shantex maybe has improved your poetry? Look, Chantix made me not want to smoke. And he goes, to the point where I don't smoke anymore. That's a man who's frustrated.
Is that a quote?
Yes. Look, it's because the people who direct the commercial, they don't know what they're doing. You know, first of all, the only commercials that are on now are about what drug you should use that you're not aware of to deal with some frightening disorder.
But see, here's the thing. That's not true. On the channels you watch, those are
cable.
Cable news especially, where old people go. There's drugs
all day long.
Follow. Yeah,
it's a daytime cable thing,
right?
But I noticed that the nighttime.
I'm just saying, when you do the big commercial chunk on stage, don't go commercials these days.
Right?
Narrow it down.
I appreciate you cleaning it up.
Otherwise, it might seem hacky.
That's the thing. I so much want to do jokes about commercials because I don't care that it's hacky in a way, and then I know that it has that syrupy feel to it when you're done.
Yeah.
What's the deal with every once in a while there's something hilarious you can point out, or something so annoying and so blood-curdling, soul-destroying, like those TD Ameritrade commercials. I don't. He may be in his private in IRL. He might give billions of dollars to charity and solve the unified field theory. But that guy is getting on my nerves. The guy who's like, people come and go, I don't know, I want to retire, but I don't want to retire. I've decided.
Well, you don't have to retire.
I don't.
No, we can make a plan for you that can make you keep working until you drop dead.
Oh, my God. I mean, I couldn't have. How would I have figured that out on my own?
Well, you never would have had to, as long as you have us.
Yeah, us. What are these people? Anyway, how much does that cost, first of all, to have some faceless? It's like H&R Block. Why don't you just go have H&R Block and go, hey, you do taxes? Do you also do investing? Because I might as well have some idiot at your firm stick $30 into a. Who has this money, Josh? I ask you. I implore you. Who has money? How many people have money that they need to invest and they don't know who to go to? How many people have money to invest?
There's a lot of people who do. First of all,
I don't think so. That's where you and I differ.
Well,
all right.
I have some envelopes to show you when we get back for the things that I get once a month from various statements from various people who do that for me. Yeah,
I know, but it's just you can't win for losing. I'm trying to come up with a catchphrase. You can't win for losing.
Okay, that's the one to beat.
So we're exhausted. We've been having a great time. I think we have been having. I know. How have you been feeling? I mean, I know that I'm already sugarcoating. I mean, it's like I know that in a way I'm thrilled that I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And I feel great about it. So that's all all I care about, and how each day went, or what the thing is, or how it looks. Stop doing that, or how it looks. I can't control it.
Stop doing that was. Let me just set the scene here. Usually, our podcast is done at a completely barren table for Andy's benefit.
That's right.
I could make it clear of all clutter and anything that'll pull him. This is the desk in my hotel room that we're doing it at, and it has hotel room detritus everywhere. There's the pile of change. There's the charging.
This is a table I could have constructed.
There's a bottle cap. There's a phone. There's all sorts.
And
of
now this bothers me. Now I have to move.
There's a map that is apparently torment. There's 2 maps that are tormenting.
2 maps for 4 places.
Shit. Yeah, and none of them I ever used.
Places in the area: Eddie's Bar and Grill, Bobby's Dry Cleaners.
I was unable to use the restaurant maps because I was never here when restaurants were open.
I know, because we're working actors.
Yeah.
We're working actors. This is a new thing for me, and the thing I want to eventually do is come up with some funny stories from the set of the movie, like they always have on the talk shows.
Right. But then we'll burn the whole DVD extra track.
That's true. That's true.
No, I've had a great time. I've had it's been completely exhausting, but also just engrossing.
Who told you were natural?
That was you first. You were by far the first person who ever said that.
I was the first person to reply in a text a way to make you do something where you didn't trust. I mean, where I was literally put 3 seconds of thought, half a second of thought into it. It's you, baby.
I don't know. I mean, we talked about it before, but it's just I felt, as much as I was excited by the opportunity, it's like it felt brazen to say yes because I absolutely had no basis to say I can do this a good job for you.
It's just one of those
things. And
I
feel like I did a good job, honestly. I'm actually very proud of myself, and I'm proud of how quickly I sort of got my process together to be able to do it each time. And, to the extent that my job is to make the director happy, I feel like I did it pretty quickly, pretty frequently. So
the thing is, I feel that acting, I don't want to say, it's not so simple to say either you can do it or you can't, because that's not true. Even if you could do it, you'd have to learn. You still have to learn how to do. Some people could be great actors and not learn right, and not right from the beginning be great.
Right.
But
I still don't feel like an actor. I have to say, I feel like I can act now, and I feel like I want to act more for sure. But I realized last night because we did this big scene at this big plantation yesterday because it was Martin Luther King Day, and it's pretty easy to get. It's pretty easy to get an antebellum plantation.
Yeah,
booked
you really should remind yourself of what the South was.
Yes. Turns out there were no events, so we had this big party scene we filmed yesterday, and between takes, we had Allie Mills, who was like the mother on Wonder Years, was in the scene, and David Hayden Jones was in it, and who he and I did a scene together, and which was really, really fun. But when and there was other actors, Heather Matraze, I don't know whose name I mispronounced.
I think not only you mispronounced it, you did something I would do because I don't really know her last name.
Nor do I. Clearly.
So I would go with Heather Matraze.
But so all these actors are sitting together at the table, and and Paula Lindbergh, who plays my girlfriend in the movie, who's really awesome.
She's great.
They were all sitting and talking, and I couldn't bring myself to go sit at the actors' table. I just didn't feel like I was. I still felt like I was more in the a producer. Do
you think is your dream to be on Inside the Actors Studio one day?
No, just to get the interview at the end. Just to have
the 5
I just
questions?
want to have James Lipton over to the house to ask me the questions with no audience.
Are you talking about the 5 questions from Bernard Pivot?
Yeah, I am.
Right. So sorry. Knocks you in the foot.
So what was I saying?
You were talking about I think you're just basically talking about the experience of being on a set.
Okay, so you don't know what I was saying.
I almost caught it for a second. I did think I.
Oh, but no. My point was just I don't feel like I'm an actor now because I still didn't feel. If I felt like that was a different kid's table that I belonged at. I talked to everybody, but I just didn't feel like. It's just my identity. I had a weird sort of identity mini, not a big moment, but there was a place in my head where, wow, you really don't feel like you belong at that table.
Right. But the thing about it is that I think.
And I'm a star of the movie. I'm one of them.
Until maybe yesterday, I never felt comfortable. I'm making a point hyperbolically, but I've tanked so many auditions in my life as recently as a year ago, recently as 6 months ago, because of self-loathing, not being comfortable. That I think there's so much of that involved in acting, and on top of that is you really can't tell. You can't tell how you're acting until you see it.
All right.
Even if you feel.
I think I've found that's not entirely true. I mean, you don't know how it actually looks because you can't.
Right, I know you don't feel. If it feels good, it's usually okay.
But we had, I did a day of scenes with Paula the other day at the house where we had to sort of establish our relationship, and there were several scenes where it's like when you're in it, it's like yes, this is exactly what we need to. You feel like you're in the pocket. You really do, and there were, And and honestly, because she's an actress, I have to give her a different energy than I do with you. Because you and I, we can stand and say anything to each other, and our chemistry is already there.
Well, that's the thing I think you shouldn't underestimate about what you're doing. And it's not a matter of saying like it's not about a matter of me saying you deserve the part. The point is, doing stand up for your whole life is acting.
No, for sure.
So there's no question if you are not like you went from zero to a lead in the movie. You've done all kinds of things.
No, I think that's true. And I'm not, yeah. I mean,
And you didn't ask to be lead in the movie, which is very important for anyone to consider when they think about. Because there's other thing about this is for people in the world. I used to think, when you say someone was too early, wasn't ready, or Dane Cook wasn't ready. Well, right. Dane Cook wanted to be. It's like there is something to be said about how you might not be ready for. I know I did things I wasn't ready for, but the other side of that is, what should you say if something's offered to you? And I think the argument in this case for you to do the part was very, very persuasive.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I never considered saying no, but I did. But I more than considered. I did sort of try to talk him out of it, just as a fellow creative. Just like I just wanted to make sure it wasn't just like a convenient choice.
No, and in fact, I didn't know. It's like the thing is this. I said, I think I already have seen you act, even though it's in a stylized thing. Right. So I wasn't worried about it. Just wasn't, I didn't know what the character was.
I've performed a ton of things. I've been in a bunch of stuff doing lines, but it's never been a thing that was like human behavior, sitting at a table with your wife, eating dinner, like those things, you can fuck up those performances with stuff. And I'm not sitting here saying I did, but I'm saying like those were the things that were haunting me. It wasn't like I won't remember my lines. It wasn't I can't, find an emotion. It was just like, do I have enough wherewithal to actually present human behavior, which is what I like in a performance, I if I don't do a performance that I like or believe in, then this will be,
okay, but I think
different outcome from, you know what I mean?
I don't think you'd argue with the fact that you can't be completely objective about your own performance.
No.
Like you're not going to be able to be as good a judge of your acting or anything than people watching you, because there's no way to watch you.
Well, I mean, and everyone who's watching me is going to have a different opinion. So right. I'm sorry, make your point, because I'm not exactly sure what it was.
Oh, the point was that
it sounds like you're trying to make me feel more secure about it.
No, I'm not. Okay. I'm trying to say that it's about the argument before about how when you feel good and when you don't feel good.
Right.
What I'm saying is, if I don't feel good when I'm acting, which I don't a lot sometimes,
right.
or I feel, am I making these motions? I know that I don't feel as good,
right.
but that doesn't necessarily mean it won't come out good.
Right.
It's just, I think, is a fact about it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, chances are, if you're feeling in the pocket, it's probably going to be better.
Right. Well, I mean, the other thing, honestly, I had this experience where it has been the least self-conscious. Like, it's really the opposite of what I thought would happen, which is my self-consciousness has kind of dropped away when I'm doing scenes.
Right.
I'm not at all worried about how Josh looks,
Yeah. Right. That's good.
And so that's a nice feeling, actually, And
you actually go further than, you have directing, you're a director. So I even feel like it's a release in the sense of not even thinking about what the movie is as a movie.
Right.
I'm trying to make each thing work,
Right.
And if I get to thinking about, well, how's it going to look? And is this going to be a movie? You can't do it. I can't do it.
No, the approach I've taken is just perform, do the behavior as if there's not cameras there, and it's the director's job to find you.
Right.
Right. But that's the only way I can really do it. I can look at a scene and go, okay, from the writer and director's point of view, this character needs to accomplish this in that scene. So, and I do that. I go, what has to happen in this scene from my guy to move the story forward? But I'm not thinking about that when I'm doing it.
Right. But I would say for me, I've never done as much acting in my life as this thing.
Right.
So, I've had experiences where I felt comfortable as an actor.
Right.
But mostly it's been up and down. But it's just like if you're doing more than a few takes, and just the idea, once you get relaxed, you just do stop thinking. I'm talking about myself.
Right.
I just do stop thinking about what I'm doing more.
Right.
And that, I think,
and
can be cool.
And honestly, it's a really low stress, as stressful as making an indie film like this is,
mm-hmm.
It's not stressful to act. It's stressful because we spent 2 nights in 40 or 30 plus degree weather, pretending it was 70 something degrees.
Yes,
and it was fucking cold.
It was very cold
for 2 days, and then we spent one day on a fucking 35 degree horse ranch where we were huddled in a tack shed between takes. And
I was more bone chilled at the school board.
Oh, were you? I wasn't.
Bone chilled.
Because it wasn't as windy today.
And the Patriots were winning, and
That's
the
what it
Saints
was.
lost too.
Drained all the blood.
The other thing is that CJ wanted to do. I met him. I've talked about how I went to his screening of his thing. He wanted, so it's like I wanted to do it right from the beginning. I wanted to do it, so I agreed to do it. And then, but I was also pleasantly surprised.
And you were also the only part that actually he had in mind when he wrote the thing. Yeah.
And he's a very kind of like a seat of the pants, but he has interesting ideas and he has a great eye. So I was pleasantly surprised at the tone of the script, in the sense that it's kind of like, I haven't read things like he's doing things making fun of high society things or making fun of sales type things,
right?
In a very kind of interesting way. So there's nothing where you're feeling like you're on a horrible film like Grown Ups, where five guys are peeing in a pool. You know?
It doesn't feel like it does. You know, it doesn't feel like
embarrassing.
It doesn't. There's nothing embarrassing about it, and I really like how CJ writes dialogue. It's been really easy to act most of his dialogue. You know,
he does.
But it's not a. I mean, I think it's going to cut together and be a good movie, and I think he shoots great. I think his this crew of basically three.
Yeah, the guys who are
plus our boy Johnny.
Johnny
is. We'll tell you about Johnny.
We'll tell you about Johnny because Johnny is the unbelievable.
He's the soul.
The heart and soul of the Fiddling Horse.
Yes, but,
maybe the most positive, truly positive person I've ever met in my life.
Absolutely, without being corny or sappy in any way. Yeah,
he is like you want to be when you're a kid and you never want to grow out of.
Yeah, absolutely. Including the fact that as a 50-some-year-old man, he doesn't eat a single vegetable.
It's unbelievable. It's not a shtick he's doing.
No.
I mean, I've done jokes like, I heard last week you had a hamburger shaped like a broccoli spear.
But I do have to say, after a week plus in Louisiana, it's pretty easy to not eat vegetables here. They make it real easy.
But, I mean, I hate to be the devil's advocate, but they do interesting things with vegetables. They have the green bean. I don't like this white. I don't understand this bean thing. It's like white bean. I don't get any of it. Is it a white bean? Navy bean? I don't like that bean.
Okay.
What do you think of it?
I don't know how much more there is to unravel beyond that.
The jambalaya. What is that bean that's in the jambalaya?
That's a kidney bean. I
don't like that. That kidney bean is ugly. It has and first of all, do you need that reminder?
Oh, because it's a kidney.
Good stuff, Andy. I'll kick your fucking ass. Take that out. No cursing.
Okay.
You can't get on Spotify if you curse.
So Johnny is, as I said, a 50-some-year-old dude who, as a young man, was a supercross motorcycle racer with his father, like a successful one.
Yeah.
And then spent a full career as grocery store manager. And has retired.
Oh, I didn't know that he was that.
And he is the uncle of the producer of the film, Mallory Kennedy. And so he just decided to come help out. And I met him the first day.
His voice a little bit there.
Well, Johnny, I love you guys.
I love you guys.
You guys have changed my life.
I'm gonna miss you guys. I can't even believe only 14 more hours with you guys.
But Johnny, this has seemingly and clearly this week actually has changed Johnny's life. He has had so much fun and been so into it, and he's worked his ass off as everything. He's been our driver.
Yes.
He's worked his crew. He's just lapped it up the whole thing of it, and it's pretty easy to be enthralled by just the sort of pack of people making a thing,
Yes.
It's an energy that a lot of people don't get to feel, and certainly if you live in central or southern Louisiana, it's not going to come across your radar as much either,
Right.
So it's been a revelation for him, and he's so into it, and that enthusiasm has just been sort of infectious too.
Well, that's the thing. When we first came in here last time, Mallory's stepdad picked us up, Nick.
Right. Johnny picked me up the first time.
Johnny picked you up. Wait a second.
And then Nick took me to the set the next. Remember, I came in
that's right. He took you to the set,
that first day alone.
Right. And then Johnny, we met. I forget exactly how the first time we met him.
And by the way, when you see the movie, Johnny is actually in the movie.
That's right.
In my sales scene.
He's excellent in the movie. I've seen the dailies.
Yes.
So anyway, It's hard to even convey how amazing Johnny is because he tells stories better than anybody I've ever heard. He tells stories better than anybody I've ever heard. He has all the information in the exact order that is incredibly entertaining, reveals everything about him, yes. And he freely admits it. There's no, he's hiding from it.
And they're never self-aggrandizing.
No, it's not like me. I'll try to go, I thought I'd get my wife she wanted an adding machine. So anyway, he told these stories. There are three of the best stories, three of the best, or four. I can't remember.
Don't promise four if you're going to recount them.
Do you want to tell one? Or?
I don't know. I almost feel like I want to make a documentary and have him tell them.
Okay, I'll tell the first. The first one is that Johnny will just tell you things about himself that are very revealing and honest. Doesn't have a vegetable. Never had a vegetable. Doesn't like vegetables. But then when you dig below the surface, he likes a banana. He likes a grapefruit. So you start to dig into these things. But when you're digging it through with him, it's like the first time he's ever thought about these things, which is amazing. Andy, when we heard this thing, all of us were a little concerned because we love Johnny already. And it's like, you've never eaten a vegetable. Okay. How can we get some fiber into this guy? Yes, so we were shooting at a bar doing a pool scene, and I come over and Andy's like going through all these websites with Johnny. Here's 12 ways you can get your fiber in, and Johnny is like lapping it up because, frankly, no one's ever cared before. No, clearly, they've only given him shit. Right, about his bad eating habits.
So he actually welcomed the suggestion.
I like grapefruit. He goes, I like grapefruit.
I can do that.
I like grapefruit.
Yeah, he's Huell-Hauser. Yes.
So you don't have any sugar with it. He goes, I like a little sugar with it. Yeah.
There is a certain Huell-Hauser crossover. Huell-Hauser's positivity is much more inane.
I know, but yeah.
But Southern so positive,
real.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so real. And so he says, so we hear... he talks about all the terrible gifts that he's gotten his wife, or the inappropriate gifts. Not terrible. They're terrible. Inappropriate.
They're terrible.
So he first got married to his wife, and she was cooking in the kitchen and
making breakfast.
Cooking breakfast with sausage and eggs, right? And he knows this is about a half hour, and she hasn't come out from cooking the sausage. So he goes in there and goes, "How you doing, honey? Do you need any help? Can I help you? Is there a problem?" She goes, "Well, I'm just having a problem peeling the sausages." So obviously she had never cooked or knew about cooking, and she thought sausages were peeled.
Right.
So Johnny thought the best thing to do, Christmas is coming up.
Right.
He bought her a cookbook for Christmas. She hated it.
Yes.
I thought she'd like. I thought we could work together.
Maybe we could cook together.
So his wife hated that. And then what was the second one?
The second one was a couple of years later. My wife, she works so hard doing the sweeper on the carpet, and she was complaining all the time,
crawling around by hand.
I thought, well, that's perfect. I got her a vacuum cleaner for Christmas, and it was a really good vacuum cleaner, and she hated it. I thought, what? I don't want a vacuum cleaner, she said.
So the most recent, I don't know if it was a while ago.
And then several years later,
he said,
every day she spends so much time putting on her makeup and spending so much time on her hair, and
she's so worried about her hair.
She's so worried about her hair, and I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get her a wig. And fortunately, he happened to be at a party or something with his sister-in-law, his wife's sister, and bounces the idea off of her. And she fortunately assured him that's a very bad idea.
Partly because he's made so many mistakes in the past. That's also why he asked.
Right.
And he's like, I just thought she could get up.
Right, she could just put it on like a hat.
And then he topped it off. The coup de grace, as we say in the business, was a prank that he pulled at a family Christmas gathering. where he goes, I went to Spencer Gifts.
Well, you got the first thing is we were doing the thing where everyone brought
white elephant.
What instead of doing the white elephant, let's do lottery tickets. Everybody bring 5 lottery tickets. And I'm sorry, Johnny, you're probably listening to this, and I'm doing you really badly.
No, I think you're doing it with affection.
I am doing it with affection. Please know that.
Yeah.
And so everyone gets 5 lottery tickets in, and everyone gets to pick 5 out. So I woke up early on Christmas Eve morning and went to the mall dispensers, and I got a fake lottery ticket and threw it into the thing.
A scratch off.
It's
like $10,000.
Yeah.
It's fake.
So he sprung that on his family. And I have to say, I worked on America's Funniest Home Videos for a while, as you probably know, and I saw maybe 15 of these fake scratch-off tickets. And it's the meanest fucking thing you can do. It's so mean. Because people aren't stupid for thinking they won. You know what I mean? It's a bad practical joke because you aren't tricking someone. You're just lying to them. You know?
And I think the message too is don't ever open a lottery ticket that doesn't come from a store.
So apparently like an elder great aunt gets it, and he goes, well, I'm in the other room because it's all them and I'm there. Basically, I don't like them. So it's going, but I hear them opening the lottery ticket, and I hear this scream, and I'm like, I'm gonna, oh good. And apparently an elder aunt or something, got the $10,000 and was so excited and had already gone into how they're going to spend it. And I can finally get dialysis. No, she didn't say that. But
how about she says? How about this though? This was the best part. She goes, and she was like saying, how come Johnny's sitting in the other room? Because he's jealous.
Oh, correct, because he's jealous. He thought he put that ticket in there,
and he should get the $10,000.
Right. So he's going, oh yes, this is even better. Yes, after she does that, and then he sees his wife, and he tells his wife, and she's super pissed, and she's
so mad.
And she's go, let's go. She says,
we gotta go.
Let's go. We gotta go.
He tells the husband, right?
So they leave, and then someone comes outside, and he tells, I guess, the husband or something. And they haven't had Christmas together since. It's been 10 years.
They have not. Literally, it has been 10 years, and they have not. I don't know what's the matter with me. I see a message from my family. I just assume somebody has died.
Yeah,
I can't not look at it.
You're at a certain age.
It's just ridiculous. And someone's telling me that they saw a play. I'm like, uh-oh. First of all, when someone calls, I'm nervous. And then if they've left a message, 50-50 chance.
Yeah. Well, that was the one. I did get that call this week. Not someone died, but my mother-in-law had emergency surgery this week, and that was...
How is she doing?
She's doing much better, but it was... it's not like the thing you want to be on the road for, but...
Right. Yeah. You want to be with your wife.
Yeah. But, so that was stressful and a little bit, but my nephews were in town. Allison's nephews were in town, and they were incredibly helpful and stepped up. And
well, how old are the nephews?
No, like 32.
Yeah, I was thinking nephews. Yeah. When people get past 18, 19, they start to become actual people. At some point. Sometimes.
Yeah, it's not a given. Anymore.
It's not a given.
Not that
they can become monsters.
But yeah.
They can become monsters.
That's right.
If you're 16 years old and you're wearing a MAGA hat, there's no excuse for it. I don't care.
That's
you're
right.
Old enough.
You can't even fucking vote. Take it off.
You're old enough to know that is like wearing a swastika. I don't buy them. I know you were telling me the MAGA hat, you like the colors, the font's nice. But I say to you, friend, you might as well say, I like Adolf Hitler. Make this country like Adolf Hitler again.
Right.
Yeah. Am I preaching to the converted?
Helvetica Reich was the font.
I love all that kind of stuff. I love that kind of a joke. I love the joke that compares I've been getting Republicans to Nazis my whole life. You really are looking for something. I hope you find it. I've never seen Josh look around so much. He's like he's doing an impression of an OCD guy.
I'm just looking for my nicotine vape thing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I see. If you dropped it.
I thought so.
Wow. Yeah. I can't believe it. I'm going to go down. I'm going to go the extra mile for you.
Don't do it.
All right, forget it.
Don't do it.
Don't forget. You know what? I am not just codependent. I think that I could be talked into burying a body with a friend. Get the fuck over here. Oh, that was a good moment. But seriously, you say, I say how high. You say, I say how high.
No, I appreciate the help. I snapped at Andy earlier because I was like trying to, I haven't eaten tonight.
I know, but it's annoying. I want Jew on you.
But
I want Jew.
There's a certain Jewish mother. I'm just gonna keep suggesting things.
Go down to the sweet. They have the sweet shop. Right. Well, first of all, I don't get that pun. Sweet spelled like sweet. I don't understand the pun.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The sweet shop, isn't it? Isn't that the name of the place we get food here, or am I mixing two hotels together? It's so hard when you say
but what's the
fabulous.
pun?
Sweet, instead of sweet, SWEET, it's SUITE. Shop.
Oh, okay.
It's not much of a pun. Sweet shop.
No, it's not much.
But it's not even.
It was a choice more than a pun.
I hate so many things. I think if I start to get into what's the deal with the gift shops in chain hotels,
right?
I don't think that's going to be.
Not a rich vein.
I would say that's petty.
It's not a rich vein.
I want to make this expression popular, like when you're being petty.
Yeah.
You go, I don't want to get Tom Petty on you.
I'm not on your team with that one.
I know, because he's a beloved icon.
Yes.
So, well, back to the drawing board. Back. I guess I'll go. Oh, you did find it, right?
No, I found another thing.
Unbelievable. Things are disappearing here because we worked on the set with a magician today.
He was not the magician. I don't know if he's like a surprise casting or not.
Oh, well, we won't say it. We won't say it. We won't say it.
But David Hinton Jones was very, very funny in the movie yesterday.
I did not. I can't vouch. I mean, I vouch for you. You've got the eye.
You may know him from Supernatural, or as the agent guy, the funny agent guy on the Aaron Rodgers State Farm commercials.
Oh, yes. You know what? My mind's going on me. Yeah. I don't think it's dementia anymore. I think it's over. Look, I'm not saying I'm codependent. I'm just saying, and I want to remind you, this is the only format I can bring this information up that doesn't sound crazy, but I want to tell you that Robert Durst, you know your friend Robert Durst?
Yeah.
Robert Durst went on trial for killing a friend of his where he was staying. I don't remember all the details. He was hanging out with this guy.
Right.
He was his best friend, and he got him upset. And he killed his friend. And by the way, if you are sensitive to sensitive material, this is is a little bit sensitive. So take the kids out of the room. Robert Durst killed his friend, cut him up into different parts, threw him in the ocean, not realizing that he would pop up the body parts, and he got caught.
Yeah,
he was acquitted on the basis of he wasn't. I can't even explain to the trial. He was guilty of chopping. He was not guilty of chopping. He was not guilty of chopping up his friend in little parts. That was because he wasn't charged. They didn't have that as a charge.
Right.
Right. But because he was afraid of Jeanine Pirro, he hated Jeanine Pirro. Jeanine Pirro was after him so badly that a jury acquitted him of chopping up a friend and throwing a friend in the ocean. That's how horrible Jeanine Pirro is.
Okay. I was so wondering what the moral of the story was going to be.
Jeanine Pirro, if you don't know, she's a horrible woman.
Is it Jeanine or Jeannie?
Whoever it is.
Okay, I don't know.
She was going after Durst to the point where he was so scared. He says, I had no choice. I was so scared of this woman. I had no choice than to chop up the guy, and the jury said that's reasonable.
It's not. You can't talk into it stand-up mic-wise like that.
What's the matter with me? Do we have mics? Do we have stands normally?
We do, yes.
Okay. How's now?
Just the road shows. We go mic in hand.
We should do more antique road shows.
Yes.
That's a good kind of a.
That mic you're holding?
I still can't do it?
$100.
Oh. No, we can't sell. This is our bread and butter. You can't sell.
I'm just appraising it. It's an antique road show.
Right, because used. I'll tell you this right now. I'm no expert, but used microphones depreciate quickly. I'm lying. I bet an SM58. If we looked in the recycler right now, get the recycler.
No, I bet SM58s you can get pretty cheap in the recycler, but there are a lot of vintage microphones that are very, very valuable.
Accrue and what are they? They expand in value.
Yes.
Yes. I don't want to get into. Although one of the things, you're talking about paywall. The other way we could go, besides the paywall, is to encourage people to buy gold and let them know that they're gold. They could bring what do they do with the gold? They bring it to a place. William Devane does it on Fox News.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. William Devane does it.
They bring it to a place?
What do they do? Did you know your gold, you should invest in gold? I don't know what you do. You send your gold in or you invest in gold. I don't know exactly what it is. But it's another way of right-wing people getting reamed. I don't know what I'm saying. That's for the first time in this podcast, I said to myself, I'm in a trap.
Or a trance.
I'm neither interesting nor unique what I'm talking about. Doesn't push the ball along.
Understood.
Doesn't help the matter. I think we're stunned because we're going back to L.A. tomorrow, and we're not trying to like as Tom Charlton would say, we're not trying to big time you. We're not trying to make you feel less than. Right. This is not like eat your heart out. We're in Baton Rouge.
Right. Right. Or even like, it's a small indie movie, but it's an opportunity that I can't. Here's the thing. I didn't think such a thing was possible to the point of ever even dreaming about it. Like, not being in a movie, I always wanted to have a scene in a movie.
Right.
But that's it, because I thought that was the only practical wish that I could have. So this is sort of just like outside the whole sphere of my expectations, So.
Right, and I was, to me, like, I'm like a believer. Like, you don't walk around going, my life is going to be a failure if I don't get a part in the movie. But I did say to myself, it's not going to happen, Andy. Yeah. It's not going to happen. I mean, and this is me talking to myself. In 40 years, you're going to be 100. So I'm just saying, if you get to then my whole thing is late 80s, early 90s. I'm going to start to face facts about my career.
Okay, fair enough.
But this is.
I don't think Rickles took the same path, and he died with fucking gigs on the books. So,
right. And the thing is, being a comedian is its own torture.
Yes, it is.
But I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. But I'm ready for this to change. I'm ready to spend the money.
That shouldn't take that long.
I forgot that the money we're getting is taxed.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh, not to you, though, because you're a corporation.
Right.
But you see these
You'll
people.
Pay it eventually. Though.
These people are incorporated. Don't kid yourself. I just wanted to say that.
Okay.
So we're going back to L.A. tomorrow.
Yes, we are.
We can't do the normal.
First, we're shooting a little bit here.
Yeah, we're going to a racetrack tomorrow.
Yes.
And they're not going to have. This podcast is not going to include all of our usual anchor elements that people go wild from.
Right.
Over.
No questions, no homework.
No homework. There's no.
Just a rambling, tired. It's two Jews, two tired. It's two tired Jews, two mics.
One Jew not really operating the mic that well, is what I would say.
For someone whose profession has required him to operate a handheld mic for 35 years,
yes,
you could be better.
Well, the thing is, I don't make it seem like it's natural still.
But it's
always odd.
To your credit, there's no monitor for you.
There's no monitor.
You don't like wearing earphones. So.
To my credit, I've turned it off once so far.
Yes.
But did not, first of all, go make a big deal out of it. Now, what are you saying? You're saying if I lock it down like that? Well, first of all, I don't want to tell people. I don't want to go too on. I don't want to go on too much about where we are in the surroundings. But you have me in a disadvantage here. I'm not a man who does well on a beanbag chair. I don't like to sit cross-legged.
That's not fair. You're on a hassock.
I'm on a hassock, but there's no back support.
Well, would you like to switch?
No, I don't want to switch. I'd rather complain from an inferior position.
Okay.
That's what my podcast with Andy is all about.
That's right.
In a way, this is my podcast with Andy.
It is.
I'm saying.
Actually, in every way.
In every way.
My podcast with Andy.
So I have no back support. So I'm a little bit like, I want to lean on the table, but you can't lean on the table with a microphone. I'm just telling you kids, if you're starting out a podcast, keep some of these things in mind. I don't know why I feel like I'm announcing a podcast tonight. I'm not really being myself. I'm powering through it.
Yeah.
So normally, As everyone knows, I'm plugged in. I'm contemplative.
It's yeah. Well, it's not a normal situation. We're both. I mean, we were texting each other at like 3:30 yesterday morning. So
I couldn't believe it. You were out late last night with David.
Yeah.
How come I can't remember his name or anyone's name? I want to say David Hyde Pierce, and that's not what I should say.
David Hayden Jones.
Wait, but that sounds like somebody, Sterling Hayden. All right, look, stop me. If you had to punch me.
No.
Don't punch me.
No, I'm not going to punch you.
And don't pinch me.
You have to act one more day.
Oh, that's the horrible reason. Sounds very selfish.
Then again, you did do 2 days of shooting with no front teeth, so we know you can do it.
By the way, I do want to give a shout out to my dentist because my temporaries have held up, and I'm very proud of myself for 1-2 months. And it wasn't easy for me because I'm not a bright person, so I go, there's no way I could eat pizza because you need your front teeth. Then I realize, aha, the light bulb goes off.
Shove it up my ass.
You cut it up. You cut it up, my friend. Any food, like a sandwich. You don't want to be eating a sandwich. That's how I got into this.
Say, Andy, you got some temporary teeth on?
Yeah.
You get a sandwich. What do?
You cut it up.
Hey, Andy, you get a piece of pizza and you got no front teeth. Right. What do?
Well, you don't just shove it in your vagachkas.
What would you do, though?
Cut them up. Stick them in the back.
Up. You get a salad with big pieces in it.
It's not that. Salad is tricky.
Too big. What do?
Starting to cut it in half. Go in the back.
Cut it up.
But I got to tell you something. When you're reading it, the last day, and I'm going to be honest with you because it's going to be boring, I have been going a little bit wild. Like I can feel it against my front tooth.
Front biting?
Not front biting.
Have you been front biting, Andy?
I feel it coming towards the front tooth, and I almost want to say, what the fucking happened now? What the fuck? I'm at the end. I did it.
You did what?
In other words, these are now going to become actual crowns that I will pay a lot of money for.
You got through the temporary phase?
I got through the temporary phase. And, it hasn't been easy for me eating recently. First of all, I don't have 2 teeth on my bottom thing on the one side. So I don't eat on that side. I've been eating on the other side.
Okay.
And it's a nightmare. I don't know. This is like a dental bit. We don't do enough dental anecdotes.
Andy is sticking food in at every angle.
I know, but you don't realize. The other thing is, I don't. He told me don't go crazy with the brushing,
right? Because
you don't want to brush them off,
right?
But the last couple of days, I've been like, you know what? Bang. I think I've.
So when's your appointment?
I have to call him when I get back. The thing is, I didn't know that we'd be down here for 9 weeks. So I have to. I haven't done anything, as you pointed out. I said I have all these other things to do. He goes, like you're doing them here. I said, I got to get back to L.A. I got a lot of stuff to do. Yeah. When do you do it in L.A.? What is it that you're doing tomorrow during the day you can't do here? Good point. But as the sun goes down tomorrow, I want to be on the way.
That wasn't the full context, but okay.
Right, but I want to be on the way to an airport.
Yes.
That's what I want to do.
That's what's happening.
I think, first of all, we have been so generous with our time and efforts. Okay, I'm stopping myself.
Well, I will say that, it's been a grueling shoot.
It is grueling. Way more for you than me. You've had nothing but 12-hour days.
Yeah.
Every day I've had has been considerably shorter, I think.
I'll go along with that just because it makes me sound tougher.
Maybe the first time we shot at the old ranch,
right?
Which I was petting a dog at the ranch today. And a guy said to me who works at the ranch, he goes,
you don't want to pet her. She's been captured and killing skunks.
And then I was like, what am I doing? I said to myself.
And you were right. If she would have reeked of skunks, you wouldn't have petted her.
I don't know about dogs, though.
Does your hand reek of skunks?
No.
So,
but I don't know about dogs.
Dogs are the best. We went to a second ranch today, and it was all cats.
It was all cats, and
that wasn't as good.
It wasn't as good because they're scared.
They were scared, but they weren't feral cats. They were. But there was. I saw at least 8 cats around the property.
But that is a very good.
But there's also lots of shit running around on the ground for them to catch and eat.
Right.
But they had cat food out as well.
You have to say, it was said to me many years ago, more cats, less rats, and it just is a fact. you have less rats if you have cats.
It's true.
And we would have had, how the plague would have worked out if they hadn't killed the cats.
So we went to this horse ranch today.
And he means it. It's a horse ranch.
It was a horse ranch. Well, it's actually a thoroughbred racing stable facility. It's the second place.
Oh, it's like unbelievable.
And it's basically we had to. It was like an on the fly thing because we needed to get a different shot than what we could get where we were. And so someone said, "Hey, I know this person," and blah blah blah. And we made a call, and the guy was, and this is where they filmed Seabiscuit actually, and.
It was a beautiful place.
The guy's like, "Yeah, we got $95,000 for 2 days for Seabiscuit. How much do you have?" And, and CJ goes, and he goes, "All right, come on over." And so we came over, and he was gracious enough to give us this space for a couple hours to shoot the scene, and. Apparently, the communication chain wasn't the best because after about a half hour of shooting, this guy comes in like fully loaded for bear and goes, "What the fuck are you all doing in here?"
Yeah,
and then he said it again. What the fuck are you all doing here?
That was not that.
And Mallory, our producer, all of 5 feet maybe, just charges head onto that guy.
Hello, sir.
Yes, and then it turns out, in fact, we had gotten permission, and his boss had given us permission, and it was a big thing, but it was pretty funny.
This guy came in guns a-blazing.
Yeah.
There was no getting away from his first approach. What the fuck is going on here?
He was all in.
What the fuck? Well, you know what's going on? The president of the universe called. We're getting an award right here. Well, because he went back,
and then at the end,
someone should have told me. Someone should have told me. My phone's not broken.
Right. Well, yeah, and it was even more involved than that, but.
The horses have to go to sleep. So when we left, does that mean they just turned those lights off and all the horses? I don't understand how horses sleep. They lie down. Do they often lie down? They can't sleep standing on their feet. I don't believe it.
I've seen both during this week.
But can you really get it's like, I'm going to try it tonight and see if I really get a rest.
I don't know. I don't know. I can't be definitive with this.
Well, they're already on all fours. I mean, I don't know what they're thinking to begin with. We're on 2 feet.
Yeah.
We got up on our own 2 feet.
Well, there's more pressure per square foot on our feet than on the...
There is. Yeah. But we got the opposable thumbs.
Sure. Oh, no, I'm not saying they're winning.
We have nuclear weapons. I mean,
we ride them. I think we're winning.
I don't know. I have so much guilt and shame that I would be worried about the horse too much if I rode horses.
Really? You don't think you'd ever get past it?
I think I get past it, but I can't think of myself living in the frontier days. Do you? Think about me like old.
I don't know, but I just, as an actor, the fact that you just spent 12 days playing a jockey and can't imagine yourself on a horse makes the whole thing a little hollow to me.
You saw the picture of me from the set, didn't you? Does that guy look like he's a current jockey? I have a hat.
He had a hat.
I look so, in a way, terrible that I can't stop looking at myself. I kind of love the horrible person I've become in this movie.
Yeah.
I love that guy. Good. I don't love him, but I love to hate that guy.
Yeah.
There's no redeeming qualities to my character. Somewhat bad humor.
Yeah. I mean, that's, that's the true to life part.
Also, I'm an anti-hero, you could say, too.
You're not the hero, Barry. I mean, Andy.
I'm an anti-hero. Wait, no, who's the hero? Okay, can't say. Don't say anything.
Yeah.
You didn't want to cut to the thing.
But I'm kind of the protagonist.
Oh my God! Here it comes.
You're certainly not the protagonist.
It's grandpa show business. I don't know what that meant. I'd like to come up with more ways of insulting. Like I wanted the actor who can't reveal his name. I wanted to insult him so bad. I had a couple of lines. I loved your work in the Bee Gees.
Right.
Because he had a white... I can say this. He wore a white jacket.
A white suit. 3-piece.
And he has long hair. I'll tell you that right now. It's not Wolfman Jack.
And that's only a strike against him because it is from his wardrobe.
Oh, that's right. He supplies... Now, you supplied your own wardrobe.
Pretty much. Mostly a mix of stuff, because the movie takes place in the 90s. I found a couple of...
You found a couple. Admit it.
I found a suit. The suit from it was probably more like 96 or 7. But,
and it was one of those 90s suits that has shoulder blades?
Well, this takes place in 96, the movie.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yes.
There's nothing though that people don't go. They didn't have. Oh, because he's eliminated cell phones.
That's pretty much the only reason.
Yeah, which is
it's not really a period piece. I mean, we didn't.
I would never write anything that was a period piece because I'd be too afraid. I would never write anything.
But that phone thing is a big thing when you're writing a script these days.
That's right.
Because it's such a part of life. You know, it used to getting to a phone used to be a major plot point in a movie.
And you'd see it all the time.
Yeah,
you'd see it all the time that they would use a booth.
Right.
And there were Columbo's plots that involved an answering machine.
Right.
Columbo had a thing where the guy calls in the extension. But now, these days, it's like Entourage, I think, ruined everything in every level of show business.
Sure.
But you're like, hey, Ari, boom, hey, to the phone.
Right.
I feel like I'm saying half sentences.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
I'm talking
Not entirely.
Not entirely, but I feel like I'm talking like a good-natured Trump. Because that's what he's like. Must not. His thing is, must not. Country's good. Stop it. Bad people get out.
Right.
Bad people leave. Hashtag. Okay, look, I don't want to talk about him anymore. I'm sorry that you brought it up. Who are you voting for? I'm voting for the Chloe Bichar's in town. Uh-oh.
Is she your fave?
I like her a lot, but I don't know.
I can't see her.
She doesn't have tremendous amounts of she's just not somebody who likes performing, really.
No, but it's clear that she's been trying to up her game over the last several months.
And she's very bright.
Well, particularly since Franken left, she had to sort of pick up the mantle of what Minnesota senators do.
Yes, and this is I don't know what I was going to say.
But I like her, and I like her father too, who is who's still a living columnist in the Minneapolis Star Tribune at 90-something. Yeah, Jim Klobuchar.
Oh, so he's is that's what his profession was, right?
Yeah, he's a Minneapolis journalist for Minneapolis journalist for years and years.
I admire that you are not admire, but to me it's interesting that you're from Minnesota. You're not like some schlub from Queens like me. It's interesting. If everybody was from Queens, I would never have left Queens.
You couldn't.
No. I don't know. Being from Queens has turned out to be such a terrible thing with Trump. That's not really. He can't steal my sense of Queens from me.
Well, Charles Lindbergh was from Minnesota, and he's a Nazi. So.
He was a Nazi. Was a Nazi. He is the first person who said, didn't he say "Make America Great Again" or "America First" or something similar?
He was an America First guy.
America Firster. Yeah. For those of you who think there's nothing wrong with "Make America Great Again," it is a descendant of the America First movement.
Right. And although Reagan used "Make America Great Again" too.
Right, but don't. If I'm in the middle of making a salient point, I don't understand why you come in there.
Why I have to pollute it with facts?
Yes, because the regular Joe who listens to this podcast, he doesn't know. Oh, there I did it again. Turned it off.
Yeah, you did.
There's something very, very odd about me tonight. I think I'm just tired, but I think I'm the inside of me is saying, "Turn it off. Stop talking," or if you do talk, angle the mic weird. Well, this is the first lull. We've been going for a while, right?
We've been doing all right. Yeah, I think we'll bring the ship home fairly soon.
Can you believe that? We are over the hump. I don't like that commercial anymore. The Hump Day commercial. Tell me, hey Eddie, ask me what day it is. I can't stop talking about commercials. I can't stop it.
Well,
I feel like I have nothing to talk about because I've been consumed by this.
Yeah, me too. It's like. And then the other day at summer camp, and then we did.
Right. And then you remember the first day, and the first day, Josh said, "I'm nervous," and I said, "Me too." I mean, what are we gonna? We have no George Kennedy style anecdotes from Modern Romance. So the first day of the picture, I go to Culver City, and because I'm playing an animal, I'm on the animal movie, and he goes, well, "Your name's not here at the gate." That's what we need. That kind of. And anecdotes, hilarious things that happened to us.
Well, we got kicked out of a racetrack.
We did.
But we're going back there tomorrow.
We're going back there tomorrow, but we have experienced two versions of what the fuck are you doing here?
Yes. I have to say, at the first racetrack, the security people were were fairly polite as they.
I didn't know
as
that.
It percolated up the chain that there was this crew here that apparently wasn't supposed to be that day.
Yes.
And we weren't trying to steal anything. We really thought we had clearance to do it.
No, but we were approached a couple times in there where you could feel like something's going to happen.
Yeah.
People are too interested in what we're here.
Well, it kind of looked like we were pulling a heist too. It did look like because we were doing makeup in a public space and like going into the bathroom and changing clothes. So I could see if you ran a fucking cash business like that, you can see how you might want to see what the fuck is happening.
I knew I was in Baton Rouge though. When the person, were we in the jockey club then? No, what were we in? The clubhouse?
Clubhouse, I guess. Yeah.
When she said, because if I don't have your name here, it's going to cost $2 a piece.
And it was 10. It was 10.
Ooh, okay, that's real money.
La-di-da.
That's real Jew money.
Yeah.
That's real Jew money right there. I don't know why I said that.
So it has been, it's been very impressive how C.J. Wallace and Mallory Kennedy have pulled off this thing.
And the camera guy.
Yeah.
The camera guy's
John
great. And they work together very well, these guys. Like, they all know they can see. And so...
It was my kind of week, which is fucking wear a project, I like that. That's what makes me sort of happiest, so...
I know. You were, for example, I, being an international star... I usually take my own honey wagon to the set.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
Sure.
But any opportunity I could sit down, take a nap, I was out there. You were constantly out, up and about, walking around. I don't know what I mean. But in other words, you were more involved.
Yeah. I was also sort of playing the CJ side of the aisle, too, and consulting with him on shit just because I have thoughts and opinions to help,
right.
So...
I don't, luckily. You'd think I'd have insights into the thing. But no.
I've shot a lot of stuff and you haven't. So it was just having another set of eyes, And I'm into it. I care, and it's not your thing. So
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying you don't care about what you're doing, but you don't care about what other people are doing.
That's a good point. Man, what he's saying right now, some people might think it's narcissistic behavior, it's self-involved. What I call it is let 1,000 flowers bloom. Hey, if you go carrying pictures of Chairman Mao,
you ain't gonna make it with anyone.
Anyhow. Okay, I'm very sorry about doing that because that brought. Now we're not doing questions tonight, and this will be the night where you go. How?
Let's ask each other 3 questions.
Okay.
Please. Okay. You go first.
All right. Josh.
Yes, Andy. Andy asks.
Josh, would you say? How could it be this hard?
I don't know.
Okay. Okay, Josh.
It could be anything.
All right. Anything. All right. Is there anything that you haven't said to me that you would like to do or you're interested in that might be a surprise to me, or might be something like like origami or something that I don't know about you that you like or have an interest in? Tiki.
Huh. I don't have a lot of esoteric sort of things like that. It's
no stamp collecting.
No stamp collecting. I have a nice Zippo collection.
What is that?
Zippo lighters.
That's it. That's what I'm talking about.
I have a cool and other various antique lighters. But when I used to be on the road, that used to be one of my day killers, was to go to antique stores and look for lighters and Zippos. So
now these have a wick in them.
It's like, a Zippo is the metal one that, you flip open the lid. Like,
okay.
A soldier in a movie would, with that nice metal clink to it.
Right. So they're an upper end.
It's a wick and it's fluid that soaks a sponge underneath the thing.
What kind of fluid is it? Is it kerosene?
It's lighter fluid.
What is kerosene?
Kerosene is a fuel. It's a fuel.
Okay.
Petroleum-based
So it's
fuel.
lighter fluid. I kind of used to love that smell.
Yeah. I like Zippos, and I used to, when I smoked, I loved Zippos, and that was for years, that was one of my little affectations.
But it's such a cool thing. If you're going to smoke, that sounds like I would have wanted to smoke, if I was a smoker, like a pipe. But
there was so much great, mid-century smoking paraphernalia in antique stores, so that's kind of why. But Zippos are good because they always had printed shit. One of the things about Zippos is they have this face that lends itself to printing stuff. So there's
what are they made out of?
Well, you'd find like a lot of things. Well, they're metal, but they're screen printed stuff on them. So you get ones with great old corporate logos and all these things. There's always
wow. So would you say it is a okay? My parents collected antique dolls. They collected stoneware. They were experts and but the place wasn't like furniture and stuff like that. But they used to have these things that were like they sat on top of lights or something like that. I can't even describe them. They look like a hurricane glass, or they would sit on top of light poles. And they're like different colored glass. So I tried to collect those, and then I couldn't. Is there a market for Zippos?
Probably not a giant one.
Yeah.
Just because the amount of people who smoke is decreased so much, and they aren't good for weed. So,
are there anything?
But I'm sure. But there are certainly Zippo enthusiasts in the world out there.
Would you go if you had to? Would you go to that horrible guy in Vegas, the pawn guy? The horrible man.
No, I would go elsewhere. But I have like a Nixon Eisenhower campaign lighter.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of something. As an offshoot of that, did you ever try smoking a pipe?
I have. It was never like I never was a pipe smoker.
Have you ever enjoyed a cigar?
Yes. Although I get bored. With a cigar. And when I was smoking, I would have to take a break from the cigar and have a cigarette sometimes because you don't inhale the cigar.
Right, but the thing is, it has a flavor to it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think of a cigar, I think I'm going to like it, and it doesn't work out for me.
Right.
Well, that's we learned something about, I used to like flip books.
Yeah. Like the animation flip book,
Yeah, I used to love them.
Yeah, I used to make them all the time. Anytime I got a pad of paper, I would do a little stick figure flip thing across the bottom.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's way too much focus for me.
Yeah.
It's a stick-to-itiveness. And then we had a friend. Didn't he sell all kinds of things online? Steve?
Steve Benos is he deals mostly in antique photos.
And is he still doing that to some extent?
Yeah, I'm sure he is, yeah.
That's so cool. I have a lot of early Lincolns. Did you collect baseball cards? You think you did?
Well, no, never seriously. I had a bunch as a kid, but I never collected or cared.
Anything valuable, like a Superman or anything even in that level?
I don't think I ever have had, like, a holy grail of any kind, no.
I was a stamp collector, and I was fascinated by it just like like the way you would love to collect fireworks. I loved fireworks for about a year, 2 years. Loved them. I loved to collect them. I loved the smell of them. And so stamps had that kind of, well, fireworks is a different thing. But stamps was like, wow. If I could have had valuable stamps, I would have enjoyed it. But that's all I cared about, really. Right. I wanted to have the 1943 copper penny, and I wanted to have valuable stamps.
A 1943 copper penny?
Yeah, because they
was
were
there
making
a copper penny in 43?
No. So they were making it from steel. So if you find a couple of coppers, they did make a couple of copper pennies, and they're worth a lot of money.
Far more than twice face value, I hear.
I've also spent time in my life, not a lot of time, but certainly a couple of hours all told, looking at pennies to see if they're 1943 copper.
I used to... in the 80s, there was a big precious metal boom with silver and gold spiking.
Yeah.
And I remember it was 1964 quarters, and before had silver content in them. So I was constantly trying to find a.
Did you collect them?
No, because I never found any. But it was like panning for gold. I always looked to see if there was a 64.
Oh, because that would be more ubiquitous than a 1943 copper penny.
Yes.
But you never were with the Hunt brothers, or you never got fooled by I gotta get into gold, or you never did a pyramid scheme?
I've never, the only get-rich-quick scheme I've done was late 90s tech investing.
Oh. And how did it go?
Good.
So you got out?
Yeah, I got out.
You got out before AOL?
I took a couple of big hits, like WorldCom and a couple of things, but
I don't even know what WorldCom is now. What is that, like MCI?
It was a big tank.
But you got out of it before AOL and Time Warner and all that kind of stuff crashed.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have. See, that's the thing. I feel like I'm no business expert, but I would never have. I could have told them right away that merger is dead. That's what makes me sometimes worry. How stupid are we as a culture? That it can make a mistake, and even Ted Turner knew it was a mistake. What were they thinking? Now, if it worked, I guess I would have been.
It's because no one understood the internet for a long time.
But everyone hated AOL pretty early on. That guy was a dick.
Right, but they had this giant subscriber base.
Yeah,
that could have been leveraged if they.
I still get the CDs, and the thing that's amazing is it's like 1,000 hours free.
Wow.
Of what?
Now I'm rethinking it.
All right, that was question number one, or do you think there were a lot of tangents there?
There were tangents, but that's, there's always tangents.
Let me think.
Okay, here's my question for you, number one for you. A week like this, overall anxiety in a week where you're working hard like this, greater than a week where you're not working?
Well, I'm so glad you brought that up, because the truth is that I can't separate the fact that I think I've made a spiritual medical breakthrough that you have validated, that I think, even though I had some trouble getting used to the 40 milligrams, I was getting fevers, or I don't know, I had some trouble.
Yeah.
I think that has markedly helped me, and I am way less panicky now that I'm down to 40 milligrams.
Excellent.
So I haven't had. So my hope is, and you can't hope too much, but I don't think I'm going to have as many panicky things, and I have not had panic since I've been here.
That's good.
So it's good,
So probably less. Just when your mind is engaged in something.
Oh, definitely. Like I was telling you, Susan was saying, when you work like this so hard, it feels good. Like you really feel like you can go to sleep at night.
They call that the good tired. Well, that's good.
Yeah, and so definitely. I don't want to knock on wood, but I do feel something about the 40 milligrams makes me feel clearer. And see, why I wanted to increase it was I felt like it's good at 40. Let's see how it is at 60.
Sure.
It's good. And then I didn't even really think much about going up to 80. But I was basing it on how much OCD I was still experiencing. When the truth is, I may never not check the door a couple of times. And
right.
It's you may never eliminate that. So actually, it was more about me, how I'm dealing with my OCD.
Right.
And so I think 40 is perfect. And so we'll see what happens.
Well, good. Well, Susan and I we're on the same page too. We both agreed 40 is good for you.
That's when you both agreed. I forgot we weren't at a meeting. It wasn't an intervention, but I said,
it was in the car.
I went, boom. Because I have to go back to my psychiatrist in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And I'm very, very happy. I just think I'm a lot happier. I don't feel as much terror as I still could have felt. Not terror, but like that feeling when I get up in the morning where I go, the album's not out. And the album isn't out,
right.
And I'm a failure, which was always counterproductive. It's already too late. I'm starting to come out of that phase of my life.
Okay, good.
Where it's too late, and so all I should do is just say how too late, just worry about it. And that could be great, because that can mean getting way more things done and enjoying, like answering emails, not being scared when the phone rings.
Right. All good.
It's all good. How would you say... Now, you've been going through a lot of things. I'm going to turn back on my second question. First of all, I hope that we're not keeping track of how many questions. But you've been through the operation. You actually said to me this week that you thought you might be feeling a little better. I think this week, finally... I think it might be just because I've been on my feet so much, and yes. that's helped. Because... no, I'm... It's not all the way better, but it's. I feel like my walking range is finally increasing. That's amazing. Yeah. Huge. We're very impatient Jews, and everybody's impatient. But if that thing increases, and first of all, your surgeon's dodging you with the phone. So if it improves on its own. So how do you feel in terms of your stress levels normally at home or here?
Well, I mean, I'm always happier working, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, my stress levels are, you know, probably not that different because I'm not that stressed.
Right.
But my happiness level goes up when I'm working.
And but you're
not because of security, but just because I love making shit. You know, I love the process of being in a project, and you know, that's just my favorite thing. So, and to do it this way, where it's something I've never done before, made it even more engrossing to me. So, I mean, this was an especially fun and good week for me. So,
this is all good news. I wish we had bad news, because some people like it when we struggle.
Sure. All those other rival podcasts.
Right. You know, we're going to...
I bet Jackie and Laurie are laughing their ass off.
Hey, Jackie and Laurie, kiss our ass. Look what we're doing now. Jackie and Laurie. Yeah, here's your Jackie and Laurie. I say Jackie and Laurie, and I say it starts to... The two names all of a sudden start to sound like Jackie Gleason and Laurie... Oh, stop.
Hugh Laurie? I don't know.
I wish someone would...
Why did you have to turn two funny women into men?
I don't know why I can't stop.
I just realized that their podcast is very much like ours, and I think they started first, so maybe we copied them inadvertently.
Oh, they don't have any guests?
They don't have guests either, no.
What do they talk about, though?
Comedy, mostly, I think.
Well, we can't say... We weren't coming on here saying we were inventing a form. No. We just said to each other, should we have guests, should we not have guests? And we made a decision that if we were going to have guests, our life probably would be a living hell by now.
I just think we should maybe do a joint... 120 years of comedy supercast
with Jackie and Laurie.
Yeah, sometime
that would be great. So, will we all do one podcast together?
Yeah, do a live thing maybe.
I'm going to ask them. That should be something that we actually do, as opposed to me dropping it under a bed.
Yeah, well, I know Jackie.
I know Laurie. I know both of them.
I don't really know Laurie. I've met Laurie, but
I know Laurie. I was on the road with her in 1989. She's one of my oldest comedy buddies.
I don't know why I'm pitching this necessarily.
I love it.
All right.
Well, it's certainly not going to be something that's going to save us.
Oh, sorry. We went a different way.
But it could be. We could make some... I would like to bleed some money out of some of these listeners who just... You know, all they do is listen. They do nothing, these people.
Maybe we should call them purchasers.
Purchasers.
Just as a...
Let's go to Patreon now that it's there's controversy. I don't know what the controversy is.
I don't either.
It's those the right wing guys, the right wing kids or whatever. Well, I'm fading. How you doing?
I'm not going to get to question number 3. I'll tell you that much. I think it's time to call it a night because we got to get back to work early.
I think that's true, but I don't feel like we. You know, I feel like I don't want to be get an award for that, how we came up.
The fact that we delivered a podcast this week, if there was ever a week,
yes,
I think in our entire 90 show history,
right,
this would have been the one that we dropped the ball.
That's true. And I could have, we thought about doing it. Well, you had mentioned doing it yesterday on my day off, and I slept the whole goddamn the whole day. Not an interesting thing. A lot of people go, Andy, how have you been sleeping?
The whole damn day.
The whole damn day. And I really feel like they say you can't catch up on one night, but I felt like I did catch up a little bit.
Yeah. It had to do something.
Yeah. Well, that's it. If you want to go to Thought Spiral.
We're really behind on our email, by the way. I'm sorry about that.
I'm sorry about that, too.
I'm as guilty as Andy right now. But thoughtspiralshow@gmail.com.
See, he has to throw me under the bus. I'm as bad as Andy right now.
But you're traditionally the bad one. Come on.
What's that?
You're traditionally the bad one when it comes to email.
I can't claim that. I can't be surprised.
All right. Please, I don't know. I don't know what else to ask him to do.
Well, also, we still need Us to Kill. I have to watch Louis Lee's thing.
Yeah.
That you made for Louis Lee.
Right.
But that's just a private thing. Right. And we have to probably going to watch The Swimmer.
I'm shooting for The Swimmer for next week.
Oh, it's good. Folks.
And then the conversation the following week.
Oh, we've got things to look forward to.
That's right.
And hopefully we'll be coming to your city or something.
Next week we'll have questions, we'll have homework, we'll have energy.
Promotion of the movie will begin.
That's right. The relentless promotion of the movie.
Well, I want to say something sincere, and I can't do it.
Okay. Well, it's been fun making a movie with you. Who would have thought that would happen?
This is really fun.
All right, man.
It couldn't have been more fun. And I wish it could be edgier clothes, like "fuck you" or something like that. But no.
Try it.
Go fuck yourself, Josh.
No, it didn't work.
Oh,
You
Josh.
know what you should do?
What?
Cut it in half.
Go fuck.